In June 1977, a family of 4 checked into a roadside motel in rural Nevada and vanished without a trace. Their car was found abandoned 3 days later, doors open, engine still running. No bodies, no witnesses, no clues. For 40 years, it remained one of America's most baffling disappearances. Then in 2017, a woman cleaning out her deceased father's attic found a single Polaroid photo tucked inside an old shoebox. What that photo revealed would crack open a case the FBI had given up on decades ago, and expose a conspiracy that reached further than anyone imagined. This is the story of the Henderson family and the photograph that brought them home. Summer of 1977, the year of Star Wars, disco, and bell bottoms. Robert Henderson, 38, was a mechanical engineer from Sacramento, California. His wife, Linda, 36, was a school librarian. Their 2 kids, Ashley, 12, and Michael, 9, were typical 70s kids. Bikes, tree-forged Saturday morning cartoons. They were the kind of family that neighbors described as nice and normal. Nothing remarkable, nothing suspicious. Just a regular American family living regular American lives. On June 14, 1977, Robert got 2 weeks of vacation time. He decided to take the family on a road trip through the Southwest. The Grand Canyon, Monument Valley, maybe swing through Las Vegas on the way back. Linda wasn't thrilled about the trip. She later told her sister it felt rushed and that Robert had been acting strange for weeks, but she went along with it. Marriage in the 70s was different that way. They left Sacramento on June 15th in their 1975 Ford LTD station wagon brown with fake wood paneling, very 70s, loaded with suitcases, a cooler, and Robert's Polaroid camera. He loved that camera, documented everything. The plan was to drive to the Grand Canyon over 3 days, stopping at motels along the way. On June 17th, they checked into the Desert Rose Motor Lodge in Mineral County, Nevada, a tiny speck on the map, population 287. The motel owner, Earl Dawson, remembered them clearly. Nice family, he told police. The kids were excited about seeing the Grand Canyon. The dad paid cash, said they'd be leaving early in the morning. That was around 6 p.m. Never saw them again. The next morning, June 18th, the Henderson family was gone. Their room was empty, beds unmade, luggage gone, like they'd checked out in the middle of the night. But their station wagon was found 3 miles outside of town on Highway 95, pulled onto the shoulder, engine running, driver's door open, keys in the ignition. Inside the car, nothing. No luggage, no personal items, no signs of struggle. Just an empty car on an empty highway in the middle of nowhere. The Mineral County Sheriff's Department treated it as a missing persons case initially. Maybe they had car trouble, got picked up by someone, would turn up in the next town. But when the Hendersons didn't surface after 24 hours, it became something darker. The FBI got involved on June 21st. They searched a 50-mile radius around where the car was found. Nothing. No bodies. No belongings. No witnesses who'd seen them after checking into the motel. It was like they'd evaporated. The investigation turned up some troubling details. First, Robert Henderson had withdrawn $15,000 from his bank account the week before the trip in 1977. That was serious money. The equivalent of about $75,000 today. He'd converted it all to cash. Second, his coworkers said he'd been acting paranoid for months, jumpy, looking over his shoulder. One colleague said Robert had mentioned knowing something he shouldn't know, but wouldn't elaborate. Third, and this was the strangest part, when investigators searched the Henderson home in Sacramento, they found Robert's office had been cleaned out. File cabinets empty, no personal papers. His desk drawers wiped completely clean. Someone had been there, either Robert himself before leaving or someone else after. The FBI's theory was that Robert had gotten involved in something illegal drugs, maybe, or organized crime, and the family had been killed to silence him. But without bodies or evidence, it was just speculation. Linda's sister, Margaret, didn't buy it. Robert was straight as an arrow. He didn't even speed. The idea that he was involved in crime is ridiculous. But the evidence suggested otherwise. The paranoia, the cash withdrawal, the cleaned-out office. By August 1977, the FBI had run out of leads. The case went cold. Years passed. Then decades. The Henderson family became a footnote in true crime books. One of those unsolved mysteries that people discuss on late-night radio shows. Theories ranged from alien abduction to witness protection to a murder for hire gone wrong. But nobody knew the truth until 2017, March 2017, Reno, Nevada. A woman named Patricia Dawson, yes, the daughter of Earl Dawson, the motel owner, was cleaning out her father's attic after his death. Earl had passed away at 91, leaving behind 70 years of accumulated junk. Patricia was sorting through boxes of old receipts, photographs, and random memorabilia when she found a shoebox marked 1977 Lodge Stuff. Inside were old registration cards, maintenance records, and a few Polaroid photos of the motel in its heyday. But at the bottom of the box was a single Polaroid that made Patricia's blood run cold. The photo showed 4 people bound with rope, sitting on a concrete floor in what looked like a basement or warehouse. A man, a woman, and 2 children. Even 40 years later, even with the faded colors and blurred focus of old Polaroid film, Patricia recognized them. The Henderson family. On the back of the photo, written in pen, June 18, 1977, 2:30 a.m., the date they disappeared. Patricia called the FBI immediately. The FBI reopened the case within 48 hours. The Polaroid was authenticated genuine 1977 film stock, consistent with cameras available at the time. The photo hadn't been doctored, but the real breakthrough came from the background of the photo. FBI image analysts enhanced the Polaroid and found details that had been too dark or blurry to see with the naked eye. In the background, partially visible, was a logo on a metal barrel. Yucca Mountain Testing Facility. That changed everything. Yucca Mountain was, and still is, one of the most controversial sites in Nevada. In the 1970s, it was being evaluated as a potential nuclear waste repository. The project was highly classified. Security was tight, and there were rumors of shady dealings, cover-ups, and dangerous working conditions. Robert Henderson, it turned out, had worked as a consultant on the Yucca Mountain project in early 1977. He'd been hired to evaluate the structural integrity of underground storage chambers, and he'd found problems. Big problems. According to documents later obtained through FOIA requests, Robert had filed a report in April 1977, warning that the geological formations at Yucca Mountain were unstable. Storing nuclear waste there could lead to groundwater contamination, seismic issues, potentially catastrophic leaks. His report recommended shutting down the entire project. 2 weeks later, Robert's contract was terminated. He was told his services were no longer required. But Robert had kept copies of his findings, notes, calculations, proof that the site was dangerous and that officials knew it. He'd planned to go public. Contact journalists. Blow the whistle. That's why he'd withdrawn the $15,000. He was preparing to disappear with his family if things went south. The road trip was supposed to be cover an innocent family vacation while he figured out his next move. But someone found out. The enhanced Polaroid revealed something else. A partial license plate visible on a vehicle in the background. FBI ran it through archival DMV records. The vehicle was registered to a private security company called Sentinel Protection Services, a firm that had contracted with the Department of Energy in the Firminister of Energy. 1970s to provide security for sensitive nuclear sites, including Yucca Mountain. Here's what investigators believe happened. Robert Henderson checked his family into the Desert Rose Motor Lodge on June 17th. He thought they were safe. Just another anonymous motel in the middle of nowhere. But Sentinel Protection Services had been tracking him for weeks. They knew he had the documents. They knew he was planning to go public. Around 2 a.m. on June 18th, armed men entered the Henderson family's motel room. Robert, Linda, Ashley, and Michael were taken at gunpoint. They were driven to an abandoned warehouse near the Yucca Mountain site. Someone, likely one of the security contractors, took the Polaroid. Why? Maybe as proof for whoever ordered the hit. Maybe as a sick trophy. Nobody knows. What happened next is unclear. No bodies were ever found. The prevailing theory is that the Henderson family was killed and buried somewhere in the vast Nevada desert. Their exact location lost forever. The station wagon was staged on Highway 95 to make it look like they'd simply walked away from the vehicle. A false trail. But why was the Polaroid in Earl Dawson's attic? This is where it gets darker. In 2018, investigators interviewed Earl's widow, Mary Dawson, who was suffering from advanced dementia. In a moment of clarity, she made a stunning statement. Earl found that picture in the motel room after they left. He knew what it meant. He was scared. Those men came back the next day, looking for it, but Earl had already hidden it. He never told anyone. He was afraid they'd kill us too. Earl Dawson had lived with that secret for 40 years. He'd kept the Polaroid hidden, too terrified to go to the police. Knowing what had happened to the Hendersons could happen to his family, he took that fear to his grave. In 2019, the FBI officially classified the Henderson case as a homicide, though no charges were ever filed. Most of the people involved with Sentinel Protection Services were dead by then. The company itself had dissolved in 1983. The Yucca Mountain project continued on and off for decades, mired in controversy before being officially shut down in the 2010s. Whether Robert Henderson's warnings were legitimate remains debated. But Margaret, Linda's sister, finally got answers. For 40 years, I thought my sister had abandoned me, that they'd run off somewhere and started a new life without telling anyone. I was angry, but now I know they didn't leave. They were taken. They fought. Robert tried to do the right thing, and it got them killed. In 2020, a memorial was placed in Mineral County, Nevada, near where the station wagon was found. The Henderson family. Robert, 1939 to 1977. Linda, 1941 to 1977. Ashley, 1965 to 1977. Michael, 1968-1977. Some truths are worth dying for. The Polaroid itself is now housed in the FBI's archives, evidence in a case that will never be fully solved, but will never be forgotten. To this day, conspiracy theorists and investigators search the Nevada desert for the Henderson family's remains. Ground-penetrating radar surveys, cadaver dogs, satellite imaging, nothing has turned up their bodies. Some believe they're buried somewhere on the Yucca Mountain site itself, sealed under tons of concrete and radioactive soil. Others think they were disposed of in abandoned mine shafts that dot the Nevada landscape, hundreds of unmarked graves waiting to be discovered. But one thing is certain. Robert Henderson tried to expose a government cover-up, and he and his entire family paid the price. The Polaroid is the only proof they existed, the only evidence of what happened in those final moments. 4 people, bound and terrified, staring into a camera lens, knowing they were already dead. The Henderson case remains open. If you have any information about the family's disappearance, the FBI maintains a tip line at 1-800-CALL-FBI. In 2021, new ground-penetrating radar technology detected possible burial sites in the area surrounding the old Yucca Mountain testing facilities. Excavations are ongoing. Robert Henderson's engineering report was declassified in 2015 and is now publicly available. Many of his warnings about Yucca Mountain's instability were later proven accurate. The Desert Rose Motor Lodge closed in 1989 and was demolished in 2003. A Family Dollar stands there now. As for Sentinel Protection Services, multiple former employees have since come forward alleging the company engaged in illegal surveillance, intimidation, and violence on behalf of government contractors throughout the 1970s and 80s. None have been prosecuted due to statute of limitations. The truth may be buried in the Nevada desert, but the memory of the Henderson family lives on.